Okay, let's talk about something every student knows and dreads. You're in class, things are going fine, and then the professor utters those two fateful words, group project. You can literally feel the energy drain from the room, right? Well, don't worry. Today we're breaking down 3 essential tips to help you not just survive the group project, but actually crush it and pick up some skills you'll be using for your entire career.
I mean, let's be real. Does this feel familiar? For so many of us, group work feels less like a fun collaboration and more like a total nightmare. You're trying to line up schedules, deal with totally different work ethics. It can be a mess.
And this quote just hits different, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that feeling of, are you kidding me? I have to do this? It's a frustration that I think we can all get behind.
So let's just call it what it is. We're going to start by diving headfirst into the nightmare of group projects. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter who's in your group. You might think, oh, I'll just work with my friends. It'll be easy. Nope, that can bring its own set of problems. And working with total strangers, that's a whole other roll of the dice. Either way, it's almost always complicated.
Okay, so how do we actually start to fix this chaos? Let's get right into our first super practical tip. You have to set deadlines from day one. And here's why that's so important. It solves the biggest problem with any group project, getting started. There's always that awkward phase when nobody wants to make the first move, and trying to get organized just feels impossible. It's just inertia.
A timeline like this is your secret weapon. Seriously. Instead of having one giant, terrifying deadline at the end, you break the project into smaller, manageable pieces. You set a due date for Part A, then another for Part B. This builds momentum, and, most importantly, it stops that last-minute panic where everyone's trying to slam their work together at 2 a.m.
All right, tip number 2. Now, this one is absolutely crucial, and it might sound a little intense, but trust me, every group needs a leader. It doesn't have to be some formal election, but somebody has to be the one to step up. Why? Because in what feels like 99% of groups, there is going to be that one person, you know the one, who just doesn't pull their weight. The slacker, the ghost, they're in almost every group.
And this quote? It's basically the internal scream of every other group member. You see someone slacking off, you want to say something, but you're thinking, I don't want to start drama. So everyone just sits there getting more and more frustrated.
And this slide really shows you the difference. It's night and day. On one side, when you have a leader, you get organization, you get clarity. They can apply a little bit of pressure when it's needed, but without one, you get the stuff on the right. Total chaos, confusion, and a project that just drifts along until the very last second.
Now, let's be super clear here. The leader's job is not to be a boss or a dictator. Their job is to be the person who's not afraid to send that text that says, hey, just checking in, how's your part coming along? It's about applying just a little bit of healthy pressure to keep the whole train on the tracks. Okay, let's get to our third and final tip. And this one is all about mindset. It's this idea of prendre sur soi, which basically translates to having some self-control, being patient, and learning to tolerate things.
So what does that actually look like? It's about accepting that you are not going to be best friends with everyone in your group. You're going to have to learn to work with people you just don't vibe with. And here's the really hard part. You have to learn to trust them to do their part of the work.
And this right here, this is the big secret. The final paper you turn in, that's just what's on the surface. The real objective, the thing your professor actually wants you to learn, is this exact skill. How to get something done with the team, even when it's not easy.
So those are the 3 tips, but let's zoom out for a second and talk about why any of this matters. Because yeah, you want to get a good grade, but mastering this stuff goes way, way beyond just this one class.
And here it is, maybe the most important takeaway of all. This is not just for school. The professional world is basically one giant, never-ending group project.
I mean, just look at this list of skills. Every time you survive a group project, you're building these. When you set those many deadlines, that's project management. When you step up to be the leader, that's leadership. And when you have to deal with that difficult teammate, boom, you're learning communication and conflict resolution. So yeah, group projects can feel like a total pain, but they're also an amazing training ground. By setting deadlines, having a leader, and learning to work with different kinds of people, you're not just passing a class, you're getting ready for your career. So that leaves me with one last question for you. What's your best group project survival tip?